war, suffering, cancer, abuse. If God is all-loving and all-powerful, why does he allow evil to exist? This question has shaken believers and turned skeptics into atheists. But what if the answer isn't simple? What if it's deeply necessary? Over 2,000 years ago, the Greek philosopher Epicurus posed a challenge, one that would echo through history, unsettling minds and hearts. Is God willing to prevent evil, but not able? Then he is not omnipotent. Is he able, but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Then whence cometh evil? This is known today as the problem of evil, a question so sharp, so raw, it has led many to doubt God's existence altogether. Because if God is truly all-powerful, he should be able to stop evil. And if he is truly all-loving, he should want to. So why does he allow it? For centuries, this dilemma has sat at the heart of theological debate, philosophy, and even personal suffering. It's not just an abstract idea. It's a real cry from a grieving mother, a war survivor, or a broken heart. But Christianity doesn't run from this question. It faces it head-on. And while the answer is not easy, it is deeply human, deeply divine, and deeply transformational. It begins with something dangerous and beautiful: free will. In the beginning, God created a world that was good, not perfect in the sense of sterile or robotic, but good in its design, full of beauty, harmony, and potential. And at the heart of his creation, he placed humanity, not as puppets, but as persons. Why? Because love, by its very nature, must be freely chosen. Forced love isn't love, it's control. So God, in his divine wisdom, gave mankind the most dangerous and sacred gift of all: free will. But with that freedom came the possibility of rebellion. And rebellion came quickly. In Eden, Adam and Eve chose autonomy over obedience, self over surrender. And in that moment, evil wasn't created, but it entered through choice. A broken relationship with God rippled outward, bringing pain, injustice, suffering, and death into a world that was meant for life. And yet, the Bible doesn't say only the wicked suffer. In fact, one of the oldest books in Scripture, Job, tells the story of a man who did everything right and lost everything anyway: his livestock, his children, his health, all stripped away, not as punishment, but as a mysterious test of faith, of endurance, of trust in a God who remains silent, but never absent. And then at the center of all Christian belief is a staggering claim: that God himself took on human flesh, stepped into this broken world, and chose to suffer with us. Jesus, sinless, compassionate, perfect, was beaten, mocked, betrayed, and crucified, not because he deserved it, but because we did. God didn't stay distant from evil. He didn't observe our pain from a safe distance in heaven. He stepped into it, he bore it, he absorbed it, so that one day we could be free from it forever. Let's step back for a moment. Beyond the emotions, beyond the pain, let's ask the deeper question: why would an all-powerful, all-loving God allow suffering at all? Some thinkers call this the free will defense. It argues that the very existence of love, morality, and human dignity depends on freedom. We are not robots. We're not programmed to obey or love automatically. And with the ability to love comes the ability to hurt, to choose evil, to walk away from God. Without free will, there is no love. Just like a scripted "I love you" means nothing without sincerity. Obedience without choice isn't virtue. It's programming. But it goes deeper than just freedom. Many Christian philosophers, like Irenaeus, C.S. Lewis, and John Hick, have spoken of something called the soul-making theodicy. The idea is this: life's struggles are not random punishments. They are allowed because they shape us. Just as fire refines gold, just as a storm can strengthen the roots of a tree, so too, suffering can produce endurance, humility, compassion, and faith. C.S. Lewis put it this way: God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pain. Pain is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. The pain isn't always answered, but it is never wasted. We live in a broken world. Yes, but in that brokenness, something sacred happens. We grow, we learn to cling not to comfort, but to God. We learn that life's greatest treasures are not material, but spiritual. And though we can't always see the purpose in the moment, God often uses suffering to birth strength. Not immediately, but ultimately. When we look at suffering, we often look at it through the narrow lens of this life only. Our time here is short, 70, maybe 80 years, and so when tragedy strikes, it feels final. But Scripture invites us to zoom out to see life not as a destination, but as a preparation. The Apostle Paul, who himself was imprisoned, beaten, shipwrecked, and left for dead, said this in Romans 8:18. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. That's not denial, that's perspective. Paul isn't minimizing your pain, he's magnifying your future. Christianity teaches that this life is not the end of the story. It's the first chapter, the prologue to something eternal. Every tear, every loss, every unanswered question, they will all be swallowed up in the joy of what's to come. Revelation 21:4 promises, He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Think of it like this. When you read a book, you don't judge the whole story by a single painful chapter. And when you watch a movie, you don't stop at the conflict and say, "This story makes no sense." You keep watching, because you trust the author. God sees the entire story, past, present, and future. He knows how every moment, even the darkest ones, weave into a tapestry of redemption. And even if we don't see the full picture now, we are invited to trust the one who holds the ending. Eternity is real, and in that light, suffering doesn't disappear, but it's no longer senseless. It becomes the soil from which glory can grow. If you're struggling right now, if life feels unfair, overwhelming, or unbearably painful, you're not alone. Not now. Not ever. Your questions are valid. Your doubts are heard. And your pain, though invisible to some, is seen by God. He does not stand far off, arms crossed. He draws near, especially to the brokenhearted. The Bible doesn't promise a life without storms, but it does promise this: you will never walk through the storm alone. Psalm 23 says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Evil may be loud, but it is not final. Pain may be deep, but it is not pointless. The same God who brought beauty out of ashes, who turned a Roman crucifixion into the symbol of eternal hope, that same God is still writing your story. He can take the darkest chapter of your life and turn it into the most powerful testimony of His love. So if this message touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's hurting. Let them know that there's hope beyond the pain. And if you want to keep exploring these truths, if you want to wrestle, reflect, and grow in your understanding of God, subscribe. Not because we have all the answers, but because we're asking the right questions together.